Okay, so this part of the pamphlet is pretty important. I went to Jason, Christie's first ex-husband. I was just wondering if anyone else experienced violence from Christie and many other things. I needed some answers. So here he goes. I'm scared of her. I do my best to have nothing to do with her. When she is nice to me is when I get the most scared. So I am a little apprehensive right now with you. Well, I'm scared of her. She stabbed me in the eye with a stick and I pulled it out. Ouch. She needs to be on medication for borderline personality disorder and manic depression. She's done any number of things to me, previous exes in Minnesota that I know of. Her daughter, both of our boys, etc., etc. Everything from constant slandering, email hacking, violent episodes where she suddenly grabs a dangerous object and thrusts it at whoever is upsetting her. The stories she makes up are incredible. Everything from being raped numerous times to her brother being instructed by her father to punch her in the stomach and push her down a flight of stairs while she's pregnant, to being sexually harassed. Her MO is that she was sexually assaulted everyone from former employees to ex-boyfriends to former roommates. You know, now she's going around sleeping with meth heads and heroin users, and yeah, well, she needs to be on medication for borderline personality disorder, manic depression, but she doesn't think she has a problem and refuses to believe she needs the meds. Oh man, my friend that she attacked convinced me to go to the police. She's going to be charged with a felony assault with a weapon. What the fuck? I just want her to get the help she needs. You could have lost an eye. You're going to the police documents what she's done so that maybe later on she will be forced to get help. The more she is able to get emotionally and mentally, the more she's able to get to you emotionally and mentally, the better she's going to feel about herself. Almost like she's a helpless person who is the underdog and has managed to heroically survive against all odds. That's warped. The things about this is that she will manage to convince herself of every lie as being true. Like, I truly believe she is unaware of what is reality and what is made up. If she needs to be a certain way, then she will just say it's that way, set her mind to it that way, and then magically the lie ends up becoming the actual truth in her mind. At some point, she will truly believe that you sexually assaulted her, though initially she knew it was made up. It's not like she can do much to me here in Minnesota any longer. She's burned every bridge she built here, and no one believes anything she says here. Okay, she's a snake waiting to bite as soon as your guard has been let down when she's having problems with you. So if she suddenly starts being super nice to you, that's when you need to be aware. She's not a good person. There's no other way for me to describe her. Both of our sons want nothing as little to do with her as possible. Do your best to stop caring about her, please. She will exploit any sort of weakness you show her and come at you with just some crazy-ass shit. Kind of similar to you dealing with her spreading lies about sexual assault. It can and will get even worse, so stop feeling sorry for her or worrying about her. Worry about yourself. She will use whatever sort of sympathy you have for her to get back at you when you're least expecting it. I'm really sorry you're having to go through this. Christy loves strangers and hates loved ones. That's about the best way I can describe her from my experience. She loves strangers because they're a clean slate and they know little about her. At some point, she will truly believe that you sexually assaulted her, even though initially she knew it was made up. Oh my god, I'm waiting for her to return my chainsaw she took. That's what I need to make money. I do tree removal, but I'm scared I'll have a friend with me. Well, if she's aware of that, then she is unlikely to give it back to you. More than likely, she will sell it, or she is somehow forced to get it back to you. She will probably find a way to sabotage it so that you will need to fix it, sharpen it, or replace it. Oh, fuck. Alright. Alright, I read that part. Went the wrong way. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Well, I would recommend reporting any physical abuse to the police. If you don't, later on, you will regret it. You need documentation. Just know that she will do her tit-for-tat thing and come back at you even more. So I predict she will file a false police report about you having hit her. She would even go as far as to physically hurt herself so she can say you did it. She may just stick with the rape accusation, though. Whatever she feels, one-ups whatever you are doing to her. But don't let that stop you from documenting with the authorities what happened. You will need that for later on. I'm really sorry you're having to go through this. Christy loves strangers, hates loved ones. That's about the best way I can describe her from my experience. She loves strangers because they are a clean slate and know very little about her. Once she establishes any sort of relationship with them, they begin to see her true colors. Once that happens, they start to wear on her, and within 30 to 90 days of having established the relationship, she will be lobbying against them and slandering them. I documented this for over the years fairly well. The fact you guys survived as long as you did really started to make me wonder if she just needed to be with a woman instead of a man. No, she's still the same. Okay, hey, was Christy ever charged with having sexual relations with a minor? During her divorce, she was telling me she pled guilty because she was afraid. Why plead guilty if you didn't do it? I asked her. She said, I wasn't aware of my rights. His response, she seduced a girl who was 14 when she was 20, did it again to the same girl when she was 17. Yes, she would have gone to jail if she didn't agree to settle. She couldn't deny it. She fucked up, and when she first molested this girl at 14, that girl then ghosted her. It was Christy's first female sexual experience. She emotionally connected to her for that reason, so she started mailing her handwritten letters with illustrations of naked women, beautifully entwined, oftentimes expressing sexual languages about what they're doing. Okay. 3 years, Christy never told me exactly that she was a sex offender. It makes sense now that I think about it. Christy's a predator. I also had a 17-year-old boy named Zach who had moved into our house with her and our kids right after I left. As a witness for me, he had dropped out of high school his senior year because he was in love with Christy, who was fucking the crap out of him. Christy would have been 24 or 25 at that time. On Christmas Day, she kicked him out of the house, throwing all his stuff on the side of the road, locked the doors, so he contacted me and told me he could help me get my kids. Christy creates her own worst karma. I literally don't bother to defend myself on any allegations from her about me that I hear from friends and acquaintances. I just tell them to be careful and that Christy has a lot of issues. Within a month, they see her themselves and stop doubting. Starts to change as the ghosting. Back to the letters to the 14-year-old. Ghosting continues, and the end. The letters say a lot about this girl being a rotten person for not responding after the sexual experiences they just had together. The girl was a family friend of mine who I dated for like 3 months after Christy and I split. We are still friends, but this girl is not mentally well and is unable to function on her own too well. Mental illness runs in her family. Oh my God. Alright. So I asked Jason, was there anything put on a record? He says, all that happened was I got my kids. Christy signed the divorce papers because she had no choice. Had we gone to court, it would became a matter of record that she had done this to this girl, and Rice County would have come after her. She signed to avoid that. The girl only wanted to help me get my kids. She was not willing to press charges. It was like 7 years after it happened, too. I only have the letters Christy wrote to this 14-year-old girl after she sexually messed around with her. Oh, okay, thank you. It's a cheap price to pay for a quicker chance at peace of mind. And be sure to save your identity and finances. She'll drain every penny from your credit or debit cards, or even pass a check with your signature. All she has to do is justify it in her own mind, then she will act on it. I believe she'd even be capable of murder, both premeditated or third degree. It just has to click in her mind as she's hurting you in small ways. She's also got a long game going to get you real good down the road. She loves the feeling of having that type of control. The same with being into younger people. I believe she feels safer and in control. Alright. This is Kyle's pamphlets, also combined with Sherry Ann's. There's a case number. She's wearing these $500 sunglasses she stole from her good friend and denies it. Gosh. Alright, the email to Kyle says here, December 28th, 2020. Who thought nearly 4 months ago I'd consider you a close friend? Honestly, I didn't. I've come to find myself often missing you when you're not at camp, and enjoy spending the day driving around with you, even though all the interactions with others gets to be too much for me. You've never disrespected me, other than talking my business, a habit for an old man like you that must be really hard to break. I'm tired, Kyle. Not really sure how much longer I can keep going. When Amelia was perfectly fine with just saying hello and goodbye, it shattered my heart. All her life, we did everything together. I was with one man before she was a year old for 6 months, found out he was married. The year before we moved here, I hooked up with a client who was going through a divorce and missed his family and Christmas. He called me drunk and crying. Amelia was already in bed, so I told him to come hang out in my kitchen with me. I reheated Christmas dinner for him. We smoked a bowl and drank some wine. For hours after he arrived, we ended up in my bedroom. My dislocated shoulder popped back into place, and I squealed with delight. Amelia heard me and realized someone was in my room with me. First time she'd heard me with someone, her perception of me forever changed. Just over a year later, many changes and traumas included, she for the first time saw me in a relationship, my wife. Her jealousy was not properly considered, as I not only was living in fear for our lives after the FBI relocated us, not true. I, at the same time, was happy to have Heather in my life. I'd reached a point in my life where I figured I'd live out my years alone. I was content with that. Obviously, so was Amelia. She began treating her stepsister poorly and her stepmom even worse. This sparked the first episode of Experienced with Heather. It was bad. That day brings so much regret. I pushed away the wrong girl. And I've yet to talk to Amelia since I saw her. Longest we've ever gone without speaking. Not true. I miss Heather, the one I first met. I looked up to her. I was so proud to be married to her. I didn't care what my family thought. I knew I would love her forever. Our relationship after Amelia went to her father's was never the same. I didn't resent Heather. I resented myself. Little did I know back then just how messed up she was. Amelia saw it. She remarked about her crazy eyes just days before we got married. Maybe I just didn't choose my life with my daughter out of fear of being alone. Maybe I feared the repercussions of leaving Heather. I left probably over a dozen times. Some I returned because I felt no choice. Some because she talked me into it, and others because she found me when I thought I was invincible. Okay, back to Christmas Eve. As we drive away, I was thinking how grateful I was that you would sit with me all that time. Then all I could think about was getting wine and getting pass out drunk. Instead, we went to Irish's place where he was really starting to freak me out, talking about what a good lover he was and telling me what a great bed he had. I didn't want to be there in the first place. I wanted to process my emotions, not be the ears to a tweaker. I didn't want to share with him what happened earlier that afternoon. I just wanted to go home. I went to bed angry at the world. I just wanted to ruthlessly fuck, rape. I now understand where that need comes from. I poured myself wine that I was going to use to wash down a bunch of muscle relaxers and call it a day, a life, say goodbye. The next night I was perturbed by all the racket, certainly filled with gratitude for the IHOP. Something pulled me out of my tent. I felt that somebody needed a hug, besides myself. Corey spoke to me in a way I felt was genuine. I thought to myself, here's a delivery. Special delivery. Oh boy. I told him how I'd felt the night before, only because he was already telling me how he wanted to make love to me. Oh God, get a grip, just hear me out. I told him I just wanted to fuck. Details aren't necessary. Not only did I not get that needed fuck, I faked an orgasm. Never do that. Just to get him to stop, he, I'll gently say, was unable to be satisfied. Following the night, he just assumed his place in my tent, even after I complained of being so tired and went to bed just after you did. I'm really displeased with how I handled this. He woke me up and he was trying to pull off my pants. Being just woken, I only said stop, that's not respectful, when I should have said get the fuck out. So last night I was on the phone. It was no secret I was laughing, etc. She was on the phone with her wife. He unzipped my tent and laid down. I didn't want the person on the phone to know I was with anyone around me. I got off the phone and grabbed toilet paper to go pee. When I returned, not only was he taking up my whole bed, he had all 4 of my pillows. I remained sitting up in the little space left for me, listening to the audiobook while playing a puzzle game. Didn't take long and he was snoring. I couldn't sleep even though I was already ready for bed by 7. I watched a video trying to block his snoring and to repress my anger. I heard him shift in the bed, facing me. He started putting his hand down the back of my pants. I lost it. Get out. I don't have to explain. Get the fuck out. That's strange, he says. He took his time leaving. I'm not a piece of fucking meat. I never invited him to sleep in there last night or frankly the night before. He just made assumptions that put me over the edge. I know I deserve better. I know I deserve to be treated with compassion, respect, and love. I'm afraid that it will never happen, which leads me to my dilemma. I really don't want to walk into 2021. I had such high hopes for 2020. I was starting out so good for me. I was a hotel chef. No. I was an event planner. No. And was working on my own business? No. My wife was finally able to walk, and I told my father I married a woman, and he didn't kick me out of the car. We had an apartment we were moving into, just days. Then another episode, whatever the meaning of an episode is, she got kicked out of the Sally for assaulting me. Not true. In turn, we lost the apartment, and days after that, all in one swoop. I lost all 3 jobs I had, not to mention the business I was ready to embark on wasn't going to happen either. So tell me, why the fuck should I go on when my purpose has faded? Seems when I allow myself to brightly shine, I get badly taken advantage of, so I'd rather have a way out of existence. You've been warned. I love you. Is she even capable of love? This is a receipt for the vibrator that Kyle bought Christy so he didn't have to have sex with her. And more copies of it, and Kyle didn't want to have sex with Christy. He didn't want to be involved in the drama. This is coming from Sherry Ann. Alright, and I might have to touch up some other videos, but I'm going to put this video up, and anyways, you guys stay tuned. There's going to be a lot more to come. Alright, bye-bye.